county meeting, you can't get here till later, if at all, so. All the other directors are here. Commissioners. Approval of the minutes of the June 1st, 2021 meeting.
I didn't find any corrections. I move that we accept them as written.
I'll second.
Seconded. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Terrific. Chairman's report. I have nothing to report. Treasurer's report. Commissioner Kubichak.
All right, I mailed out a couple of reports for the year-to-date summary, June 30th. I'll go through it briefly. Our administrative costs year-to-date are $28,967. That's approximately 121% of our base budget. What we're seeing is we're seeing some litigation fees. We have some multiple open records requests, repetitive, the same thing, and our attorney is handling those for us. And that's one thing we did not anticipate a year ago when we set the budget. So we'll do a better job on that for next year. Plant harvesting and control is currently $19,150, which is 98% of our forecast. Weed and water control is at $6,416, which is 56% of our forecast. And we're underspent in that area because the survey, the aquatic plant survey bill hasn't come in yet. And that'll be in the fall. So we'll be underspent on that until December. We'll catch up at year end. The contingency, we have not touched into that at all. And the transporter, the capital purchase we had forecasted was sent out and cashed by D&D Products on the 1st of July. Stan has a copy of that check, so he'll be submitting that to the DNR for some grant monies to help with our budget. So overall, our expenses are $105,205, which is 99% of our forecast. So many thanks to all the areas and meeting their budget items, and to Stu for continuing to give us very cost-effective repairs on the equipment and keeping the guys going correctly.
Any questions of Chris? I'd like a motion to receive his report.
So moved.
Support. Second. John. Other comments? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Aquatic plant harvesting.
All right.
Mr. Auger.
Speaking on the survey, I called Lake and Pond, or I emailed them, and he got back to me. They will be starting in early September. Hopefully they'll finish before the fiscal year is up, and I am going to be applying for grant money on that sometime this week, and we'll hopefully get that taken care of. We never know we'll get it, but at least we'll try. We've been having some trouble with our engine on the John boat, and I'll let Stu talk about that in a little bit, but my recommendations I'll be covering down in new business when we talk about the equipment possibilities on that. We'd like to comment that we have not at this point put any of the aquatic plants in the compost site. Even though they have granted us permission, we've seen that we have not used it. Correct, Stu?
Correct.
So therefore, we haven't done. Where is our new site? Can you tell us?
It is up at Bowers Road, just about the T of Bowers and Fremont.
Okay, a farm in there.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where we're, and very close, well, where we used to dump a couple of years ago. Other than that, things seem to be going along pretty good as far as the harvesting is going. And as I said, I will comment later on the new business about the equipment, possible equipment.
Any questions of Stan? Hearing none, we'll move on. Walworth County Commissioner Stacy is not with us, so we obviously can't report. Town of East Troy, Commissioner Thomas. Nothing to report? All right, moving on. Making good time tonight. Old business, status report on spring election edition, spring edition of LB LVMD brochure, discussion, possible action. Lisa,
It went out a few weeks ago.
and it's terrific.
Has
It
everyone
is.
seen it?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
very good,
Good.
thank you.
As of right now, we've got no returns, back to us, so we'll keep checking the mailbox. I had 2 people ask for different addresses to be listed for future communications, so that was good. But yeah, if we wanna just start keeping things in the back of our minds for the winter edition.
Thank you very much. Old business B, status report on Lake Beulah master plan. Well, I'll keep this short and sweet. I talked to Bob Nada about it. He said it would be rather expensive, to say the least. He said he sees no opinion, his opinion, there's nothing to be gained from it. It's still current what we've got. I haven't heard from anyone in support of a master plan or giving any good reasons why we should spend that significant amount of money. So therefore, unless someone comes to me with a good argument, I think that issue is dead, and would you please take it off the agenda? Cast questions on that? All right, moving on. Old business item C, LVMD document procedure and status report on electric file retention. A resolution needed, discussion and possible action. Commissioner Johnson, Lisa. Who wants to take that?
Well, I'll basically take it, and Ron was a part of this, he's the one that, investigated and said that, we probably should follow through with the resolution needed, it was
For the
missed.
annual meeting?
Pardon?
For the annual meeting?
Yeah, and so we're just to have it, on record and that, so that's the only reason I had to put it on the agenda, was
Okay.
so that you guys would understand why there's a resolution.
All right, so that'll be on the agenda for the. Okay. And thank you very much. Moving on to new business. New applied plant harvesting equipment discussion, possible action, Commissioner Walker.
I'd like to ask Stu to give us an update on the truck particularly and on the John boat engine particularly, what our
Sure.
problems have been this summer with it.
Well, we had a couple of mechanical issues with both, starting with the truck, which is, it's a 99 F-350, so starting to see its age. And we had to put a new starter in, and we've had some other mechanical issues over its history. And I think that it's starting to get to the end of its life, and it's just time to update and have a new vehicle to transport weeds and the equipment. That one's pretty cut and dry just because of its age and use. It's time to move on. The John boat motor is working well now, however, it has had a history of problems since we got it in the first place, and it was just kind of a bad model. So we are out of our warranty at this point, so any repairs are much more costly. So kind of under the advice of Rick Rose, he said, you guys should really think of getting a motor under warranty. So ours is working and it's doing the job, but it has consistently broken down, every year or 2 years, and it's costly repairs. So at some point, we're gonna think of getting a backup motor that's gonna be under warranty, and if we have issues with that, we are covered under the warranty for cheaper repairs.
How many miles on it?
Gosh, I think it's like 180 something, but that was a Virocon truck, and it was one of his first trucks, and it was used for landscaping, and it was a plow truck, and then we.
Is that a diesel, Stu?
It's a diesel, yeah, it's a 350 Super Duty.
Yeah.
So it has its own set of issues.
Okay, thanks, Stu.
All right.
A year ago, when we were talking about redoing the transporter, I also talked to Mark Rhodey about a possible new truck. And he checked into it for us, and he said we could possibly get one between 50 and 70,000 that would be similar, or of course in better condition than the one we have now. And he suggested specifically a gas engine now because of the warranty issues with the diesels, and once the warranty is over, diesels are so much more expensive to repair at this particular point. So my recommendation is that we submit at the annual meeting the possibility of purchasing a new truck next year, in the next year's budget. And also, as far as the engine, I checked in with, Rick Rose's, Marina today, I just had to get something myself. And I asked him, what is the cost of a new not Evinrude, so we had this Yamaha,
Yeah.
Evinrude, I don't wanna trust them again.
Well,
But
they're not.
a Yamaha, 25 horse, and he gave me a quote for just the engine, you know, without taxes and everything right now, at $3,635. We've already spent something like $1,700 this summer on that engine.
So it's half the
So
cost of
I
it.
am also going to say we recommend that we, put in the budget for a new Yamaha next season also. And, you know, it may run a little more, cause I didn't know whether we needed a short shaft or a long shaft, whether we had an electric start or a pull start, and things like this. So, I mean, I was just trying to get a ballpark figure to kind of let us know where we sit as far as, the cost of those two objects.
When we get to the budget, we can adjust it. I think we should do more than just the minimum. I think, you want an electric start, and I also think you wanna make sure we got a big enough motor to do the job. I know I'm not talking 100 horse or anything, but maybe a 50 or 60 might be appropriate.
John vote, I think 25 is enough.
What's that?
Nice on it,
That's
John.
enough,
Is
yeah.
that enough?
John
Okay,
vote, yeah.
I'll defer to
My,
somebody.
Stan and Stu, my concern with a truck is that they're at a premium this year, right? Things have changed a lot in the year.
Yep.
And obviously I've supported getting another truck for a few years.
Yes.
And I'm aligned with going to the voters and asking for the authorization, but I don't wanna be committed to spending it, cause I don't
Sure.
wanna pay a premium for a truck.
I agree with you, yeah.
So if we feel like we're getting a fair shake, then I do it, but if it's gonna be too expensive,
Right.
we can make another year.
Yeah, and we have to put the money into repairs if necessary.
I think we're all in agreement, we can't approve it here, so
No, I know.
we'll just put it in the budget and get it approved at the annual meeting. I'm sure the people will understand.
That's my recommendation.
Alright, sounds good to me. Alright, LBPIA requested of $1,000 contribution to the fish stocking expense discussion, possible action, Tom Vanden Bogart. I would move that we donate $1,000 to the LBPIA fish stocking program, and send them a check upon their request for it. Is there support for that motion?
Well, I'll support it. I also wanna point out is we've done this many years where we've partnered with the Triangle Sportsman's Club and the LBPIA, to work on the fish stocking.
Yeah,
And I
this
hope
is-
we get to do it again this year then, so I'll support the motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Form nominating committee, Commissioner Johnson plus one other commissioner,
Yeah, now, the
Do we need another
commissioners that
one?
are excluded that can't be on the
Okay, you can-
committee are,
I'll volunteer for that.
okay, and I do the majority of the work, so,
I know you do, my dear.
okay.
Okay, so it'll be Commissioner Johnson and Bitter. I'm not up for election this year.
And Val, you'll put a note in the paper letting electors know they also are eligible to run for the board and that they should.
Oh, yeah,
be-
that's the nomination
Right,
process.
they
yes.
should, and all they need is what, 3 people?
3
signing,
riparian owners.
3
that will-
riparian owners, and then
endorse
they
them.
get on the ballot. And that, our bylaws state to do that 30 days ahead of the election.
And we also have to allow write-ins at the, at the meeting, but they have to follow the same process with getting 3 riparian owners to approve them, so.
Just to make sure, that we're doing it, I would like a motion to appoint, I would ask for a motion to appoint Val and I to the nominating committee.
So moved.
Stan, is there a second? Greg, you doing
See
that?
me on that board.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
First draft, 2022 proposed budget, discussion and possible action, Commissioner Kubisak.
Alright, thank you, Dave. So I sent the proposed budget out, it's a draft budget, this morning, and I'll go through the few changes from last year. The first one,
We're gonna storm the castle.
office, expenses, our budget for 21 was $8,000, and we set that budget up before we started to do the newsletter. And so it's about, well, it's over $1,000 to send a newsletter out. So I'd like to move that line item up, the office, from 8,000 to 13,000. Secondly, our professional services, we've been trimming down our attorney budget for years now. And I'm recommending now that we're more involved, that we go back to historical norm for the attorney budget, and that's roughly $50,000 for that. That additionally, when I look at wages and plant and harvesting expenses, my recommendation is we just pace in there inflationary increases, 6%. Under weed and water control, this year we've had, for lake bed monitoring, we've had $10,000 in, and for the survey, we have 15,000. And I feel very confident we can take 20,000 out of that, so that budget will go from 32,000 to 13,000. And then per Stan's request, I'd like to budget a capital expense of $70,000 for 2022. And the contingency expenses, we moved them from $10,000 back to where they've historically been, to $30,000. So our total expense for 2022 would be $262,000. Our request to the taxpayers would be for $195,000. So we would be $60,000 overspent. However, for the last 5 years, we've been putting money savings in our capital equipment fund. We have 40,000 in there, and we have reserves in there. So my recommendation is we have the tax revenue be assessed at $195,000. To give you an idea how that compares, 2015, our tax revenue was $220,000. So we're still well 10% below what we've been doing in the past, but we do have, it is an increase from last year.
Question, what's in that 70,000, is that just strictly for the, transporter?
That's truck and tiller, whatever
Truck
we do, so,
and the motor too?
yes, the tiller motor.
Any other questions? Is there a motion then to recommend this to the
Well-
annual meeting?
If all our commissioners agree that that's what we wanna do, if that sounds good.
We can make a motion and we discuss it and then.
Okay, I'll make a motion that this is the budget we propose to the electors.
Because one of the things at our July.
I'd like to second it first.
Second.
Second, let's- go ahead. Go ahead. I
No,
just wanted
I'm
a second just to
sorry.
get it on the floor.
I was ahead of myself.
Okay.
What you're planning.
Well, you'll catch up.
I was-
mean, we'll catch up to you. Any other comments? John, Greg?
Well, I'm trying to think of what we're gonna need. The thing is that we get into a situation where we can't, get ourselves not too worried
Yeah.
about the rigidity of the budget, so I think it sounds good.
If there are no other questions, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a recommended, there's only a recommended budget for the annual meeting. Alrighty. Approval of Commissioner Johnson and Lisa to attend various training seminars appropriate for electronic funds retention and other subjects as they come up at